All right. See if I still have this on here. Nope, it's not on there. Go figure. To start out the podcast, I'm gonna have you read something to adjust my audio quality, and because it's fun to read.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna send it to you in the Discord.
Okay.
Just read that, and we'll start the podcast with that.
Hold on 1 second.
NP, dude.
Oh, get out of here. All right, I got you. Whether we wanted it or not, we've stepped into a war with the Cabal on Mars. So let's get to taking out the command one by one. Valus to Ark. From what I can gather, he commands the siege dancers from an Imperial land tank just outside of Rubicon. He's well protected, but with the right team, we can punch through those defenses, take this beast out, and break their grip on the freehold.
Thanks, dude. I really do adjust your audio whenever I'm doing that. I really do adjust your audio when I'm doing that too.
Yeah, no worries.
Not just for the memes, but kind of counts for the memes as well. Gotta move you around a little bit. There we go. We're good. All right. So first and foremost, I know I told you in the DMs and everything, started this podcast to kind of get inside the head of content creators. And as I'm very involved with the Destiny community, most people I'm going to interview are people that are Destiny content creators, as you are yourself. So how did you get started with Destiny, and how did you get started just in content creation, period?
I guess I'll start with the Destiny thing. Back last year, around this time actually, I got back into streaming, and I really wanted to find a game that I could really kind of grow a channel, because I always find building up channels and doing a bunch of stuff and trying to be creative and stuff like that, it's a good outlet.
Yeah.
And I also am a broadcast major, so practicing broadcast is awesome. So for Destiny, it was more the right place at the right time, because I was going in between a bunch of story games, and then I also played a lot of Rainbow Six Siege. But then I would kind of swap off with that and Destiny, because I really liked Forsaken, and I played a lot of Destiny 1. I was very, very heavily into Destiny 1.
Yeah.
A lot. I played it probably more than I care to know, probably close to 2,000 hours, and I probably played Destiny 2 way more than that. So just being able to play, just I don't know, just a lot of Destiny got me back into it. And as far as content creation for it, man, I don't know, it started out as just playing and messing around on Xbox, and then I really got into PC, and man, PC Destiny is totally different, so it inspired me to keep pushing on.
So while I brought up the sportscasting thing, I did go back and look at your YouTube, and I found out some stuff that I did not know about Evan. So let me pull up your YouTube. It's not on stream or anything, but
oh boy.
By the way, his YouTube is youtube.com, and it's just Evanf1997, just like all his other tags. It's really nice that you had them all. So you go through and got what you expect. I see all kinds of Destiny stuff. At least thumbnails are popping, dude. I've got to see you make a couple of them. It's whenever I never really even thought about thumbnails and stuff, because I think the first time I ever watched you make one on stream, I wasn't even making thumbnails at that point. But if you go a little bit further, we go all the way down. We've got MLB The Show, Madden 16. Tell me a little bit about these sports games, because I thought this was really interesting. I had no idea. I'd never heard you talk about this on stream, and I'm going back and dude, you got some funny reaction thumbnails of you with your face, the whole excited face and stuff.
Yeah, no, dude. There's some bad. So I used to play Madden a lot. That was my main game for a long time. And I just, okay, for a lot of people, it may sound really dumb that why would you want to why Madden? Because it's just a game that's all about taking your money and being the same thing every year. But I promise you, dude, when Ultimate Team first started on that game, it had such good roots, and I was like so addicted to it because it was like really fun. They did a lot of things that were like really cool. Like it had its own economy on there, and so like I got to practice like running a market, like a stock market essentially. And then I got into content creation because, to be honest, like I thought it was really fun. I love sports. I love playing the game, and I was like always in the community, so I wanted to make stuff. Now, as far as those cringy thumbnails, though, that's me being like a 17 and 18-year-old who was just like, hey, I watched a KSI video. I know how to fucking make a sick ass thumbnail, dude. I'm gonna make a KSI thumbnail where it's just my face takes up 75% of it. You know,
It's
so
all
it was,
forgiven. I got a
yeah,
good smirk out of him. I was like, oh man, these are awesome. Like no lie, like not
yeah.
sarcastic. I was like, dude, I thoroughly like enjoyed them whenever I first saw them. So like,
Hmm.
is there anything from like, because I know a lot of those are a lot of sports like management games, like the Madden. I think you had MLB the Show on there and stuff. Is there
Yeah.
anything that like you've learned from those games that can kind of transfer into the way you make content now with Destiny?
That's a really good question. I think if I had to say like one thing that like definitely transferred over was the mostly I would say that it's just like just my level of energy. I think that like transferred over because
Yeah.
I'm like a very energetic person. For anybody that like watches my streams, I like usually have very high energy even when I'm not feeling great. But like Madden really like kind of pushed me to be even more energetic because that was kind of the style of the content, was like be loud and energetic the whole time.
Yeah.
And people really reacted well to that kind of stuff. So I think like just making sure that I was like on my A game and like being as energetic and like happy as possible while making the stuff definitely made a really good like transition. I got to practice like a lot of just in general content creation with it, man. Like I learned all the back end stuff on YouTube and I learned some stuff on Twitch. So like it was a really good first step to get me into doing more stuff later on.
Do you think that like any of the like, because you do a lot of stuff in like Madden, especially if you're playing like the career or MLB the Show, you're doing a lot of management. You're looking at what players you have, who fits well with what. You're trying to stay under salary cap, for the most part in most games if they had
Mm-hmm.
salary caps at that point. Does any of that? I know that this is going to be more so coming Shadowkeep, which we'll get into a little bit more into the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and with Armor 2.0. Do you think that
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be like beneficial for you, like how much you have to do like necessarily outside the game? It's not just I'm gonna load up the game, it's gonna be arcade mode. Like you're actually gonna have to put a lot of time and thought into what build you're making, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
even now, if you're thinking about like some of the videos I've seen you do, um all the buffs you stack and stuff with like the raid kills and the boss kills and stuff, like stuff that you have to think about like outside of just picking up a midnight coup and going and shooting a bunch of stuff.
Right. I mean, as far as like what Madden kind of taught me in that regard, like as far as like managing inventory and like stat building, I would say it was like kind of there. I didn't play a lot of the career mode. I more delved in the ultimate team, so I definitely learned how to. I mean, they're so different, but I'm trying to find like what would be the best parallel between them. One thing that I really think took some time to learn and I definitely got better at it was, yeah, like managing like your whole entire inventory of things, like okay, what do I need to keep, what do I need to get rid of, you know, stats, like what works best here, what kind of build can complement something else, like because I think a lot of people in Destiny, they do pick up a midnight coup and they just start shooting stuff, or they pick up a rocket launcher. I actually hosted a guy the other night who was doing the Shattered Throne for like the first time with his friends, and they
Mm-hmm.
were all using like rocket launchers and like fusion rifles, and I was like, you know, like I wasn't gonna give, I wasn't like just gonna come out and be like, okay, you need to be doing this because I'm gonna let him play how he wants to play.
Sometimes it's really
But I was
difficult to
also
not
like,
backseat game.
it totally like I wasn't gonna backseat game him, but I was just sitting there thinking like, man, if you just used a tractor cannon and like, or if you had a 1-2 punch build, you just stacked all these transcendent blessings and Riven's curse, this would be over in a second. And so I think just doing stuff like that definitely transferred over from Madden quite a bit.
Okay, so a little bit different question. How do you like go about your stream or even like making a video process? Is there like a process that you have? Is there a ritual that you have? Do you just like start up stream and you're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go play Iron Banner tonight, or fuck it, like I'm gonna see who wants to raid? Like, is there a process that you have behind this, or is there much more thought like prior to like starting up a stream or even making a video?
As far as like making a video, there's definitely a process. Like I start out like there's some videos like for a good example would be I made a video on how to get like Dredgen title.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I did wasn't even the video. I picked out a song that I really liked for that video. That just like fit the style of it. It was like a guide, but it was also like Dredgen. There's a snake on it. So I picked like this jungle kind of upbeat like song. And I think that just because in my head that played out like, okay, well, if they like the song, then they'll be more willing to listen to the song while they're listening to like the tips. Because it's hard to get people's attention when you're talking about like a guide on how to make or how to get like a title. Guides are like really hard to keep people's attention. Like they'll click it, but then they won't stay with it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard in that way. But most of the time, it's for YouTube. It's like, okay, I have an idea. Okay, I'm gonna write out like pros and cons of like, okay, is this going to be a good video? Why is this going to be a good video? What makes this video different? Are there other people who have already done this video a million times? Okay, yeah, sure, all right, sure, I'll do that. Okay, no, I won't do that. You know, like I've scrapped probably 100 videos that I was like, yeah, no, that's probably not a good idea.
So you're very much
But
over
then,
the quality over quantity as far as the
yes,
YouTube goes.
yes, and that was not the case when Madden videos were happening.
You're just pushing shit out there.
Yeah. And then as far as YouTube, man, like thumbnails are everything on YouTube.
Yeah.
Thumbnails are everything.
I had kind of known this before, but there was like a one stream you did a few months ago, and you started talking about thumbnails. Like I never really paid that much attention to thumbnails. I wasn't making a shit ton of content at the time as far as YouTube goes, so it's not something that I ever really thought about. And like ever since then, I've been paying a lot more attention to it. When I had the conversation with Sweat, this wasn't recorded, but like afterwards, we were still in the video call and we talked like about thumbnails and shit for like 2 hours. So like it's not something. Is there anything as far as thumbnail goes that you implement or try to implement in every one? Is there like a template ish, not necessarily like a template in Photoshop, but like a template that you use in your mind of what you want, like, and how you want to convey a message to get people to click on it? Because that's in the end goal. That's what you want people to do, is to click on it.
Well, the first thing that I've started to do with thumbnails is I've kind of found a style that I like. Like I do the border, I do like a gold border on the outside because it kind of like reminds me of how like a masterwork or an exotic thing with the catalyst looks. And I don't know, I think that kind of like does good for Destiny.
Yeah.
And then I always have to have very like poppy text. And then on top of like the text, there has to be something in the foreground and a deep kind of like far background. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like a very very non like a depth of field has to be very very wide.
I think you're looking you like because I know that we've talked about this in DMs before, but you like your background to kind of be if you know who Stanley Kubrick is in his movies, Kubrick-esque, and you want the framing, everything to be framing everything. Like I don't know if you can kind of tell what my hands are doing. Like I'm framing my face with the way my hands are moving right now. Like everything comes in and frames it. If you've ever watched a Stanley Kubrick movie, you know what I'm talking about. So like there's like The Shining and An Odyssey 2001. If you kind of see like the really big shots and everything is framed like a picture. And I think that's kind of what you look for, and I kind of picked up on that really early because whenever you were like looking for certain backgrounds and stuff and screenshots.
Yeah, I mean it definitely is. I think thumbnails are just so important, just for a lot of different reasons. And like I go through probably like, I mean, you've seen how I've done it. Like for YouTube, it's like, okay, there's new content coming out. We gotta like some days it's like we're gonna make 4 different thumbnails of videos that we're gonna push out. Like we're just gonna keep on keeping on. But for like stream preps, I would say that, you know, I definitely like there's a schedule when it comes to if I'm helping people with raids and if I'm gonna be playing something else. Like I do like to keep a very very neat schedule when it comes to streams, because then it comes down to like me just being just sitting there going, huh, what do I what do I do? I just hit the button and like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna talk about? What are we gonna talk about? I try to like come up with like at least 3 things that we're gonna talk about for a stream, like 3 main topics. So almost like a podcast form, but for a stream. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
that's interesting. So you have 3 different topics you like to talk about with chat. So you don't necessarily do like a question of the day or anything. You just have you actually like write down or like put on something on your computer, or like have like 3 topics.
No, I don't.
Like,
I don't write it down. I just kind of like while I'm either coming back from like a train ride or like while I'm at the gym doing something. Like I'll just kind of think about it. Like, okay, what am I going to talk about? You know, what's going on in like just the space of Twitch? What's going on in the space of Destiny? You know, what is everybody doing? And some days it's definitely harder than others, and I like definitely mess up. But you know, that's what I try to do. I would say.
thought about this one earlier. Let's say you lost all sense of smell, but
All sense of what?
smell.
Smell. Gotcha.
But you could only smell one thing in the world, and it was someone else's fart of varying degrees. Whose fart would you smell? Glad's? Good choice.
Yeah, a nice steak fart.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And yeah, it could vary on what they're eating too.
Yeah. I mean, man has got some, you know, he's got the jump farts. He's got the long lasting farts. You know, you got to really save it.
Jump farts?
The jump farts.
Just jumping. So what, like, as far as like content goes, as to what you're creating, and you obviously know you're creating something whenever, especially with the YouTube, like you're sometimes you're creating this just to have fun. Sometimes you're creating it to maybe get clicks or get views, or you're coming up with something. You're like, I know this is gonna be good. This is either gonna be good on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, whatever. Like where is like the intersection between this is really fucking fun and this is gonna be really high traffic for somebody to click on or somebody to watch? They're gonna enjoy it too.
Ooh, good question. I would say that it's definitely like 100%. There is at least one video a month that's like, okay, we're gonna make some fun shit. Don't care how many views it's gonna get. But then the rest of it, like, because right now I'm in the process of just really trying to build the channel. So I would say like the rest of it is like, okay, I think this is gonna get some high traffic. I think this is gonna get some high traffic. Like, okay, I want to try to like it's. But the thing is, it's like that's not like its only intent, right? Like we both know that it's like to help people, but to also be a way for like to get more content out there. I don't know how to explain that better, but like
it kind of, as long as you're keeping yourself relevant and like making sure that people know you're still there, like so you're not like having big gaps, like say you had a vacation or something, then maybe to at least have something out there, like keep your foot in the door kind of thing. Is that kind of what you're saying a little bit?
Yeah, I would say it's more like for example, so I've started to do the whole series of like how to get this title, how to get that title, how to get this title, how to get that title, because I saw that there was like nobody doing that for most of the titles. There was no dredging fast guides, there was no like curse breaker guides, there was just like Ribbonsbane, Blacksmith, and Shadow. You know, I think Ninja Pups did those, but that's pretty much that was it. And I think a lot of people ask like I get I don't know about you, but I get a lot of people in my chat going like, hey, like how do I get this triumph on this title? And I'm like, you know, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, no, it's weird because there's that time where it's like, okay, well, if I have to go on a vacation, or not have to, but like am going on a vacation.
Oh no, I have to go on a vacation.
I have to go on a vacation.
I have to fucking go to the Bahamas, dude. This fucking blows.
But like, I don't know. I would say that it's like it's like mostly traffic, and then some of the videos are like passion projects. Like, what's the best exotic is 100% a passion project.
Yeah. What video that you've made so far has been the most fun for you to make?
Oh, definitely How to One-Eyed Mask.
That's a pretty recent one, correct?
It was like February or maybe January or December or something.
So you had that. I believe you had that in your title, for your stream like yesterday. Okay, so for some reason I was thinking it was more recent than that.
It was about 7 months ago. Yeah, it was it was so much fun making that video, man. Holy shit. It
Can
was
you
literally
can you give
just
us like a short synopsis of what that like what's in that video?
memes and
It'll get
one-eyed
people. You
mask
can get people to click
plays.
on it. Like I'll make
It
it.
is
I'll put a
so
description to it in here.
Peter Pump. I don't think I've seen
yeah,
someone choke harder than that in my entire life.
it's very much it's very there's a lot of really good memes. You got Pulp Fiction, you got Terminator 2, and you got like just so many good memes in there. It took a while to make that video, but it was so much fucking fun making that video, man. That was such a good video to make.
Let's say you're making enough money either on Twitch and YouTube, well, the same amount of money to live on, but for some reason you have to stop making one of them. Say there's a guy with a gun to your head that says you got to quit one of them. Which one you quitting, or I'm shooting you. If you had to choose between one, you're making the same amount of money. Which one would you choose?
Oh, Twitch in a heartbeat. Twitch is so much better for me than YouTube. I love YouTube, but Twitch is where I'm at. Like I love Twitch too much.
You think it's the interactivity you can have with people in chat?
Yep.
I think that's what it is.
Yep, 100%. It's the ability to just be able to talk to people at all times and like have somebody like noticing that you are like getting live feedback on stuff, talking to people and seeing that they can talk back and shit like that. Like it's so cool. I don't know. I feel more connected with Twitch. Like YouTube, I feel like there's a disconnect, you know? Like when you make a video, it's just out there and somebody could just rail on you. But if somebody rails on you on Twitch, you can be like, well, motherfucker, you're banned. Or like, hey, like chill the fuck out. Or like you have people in your chat who have got your back. You know what I mean? So that's why I think Twitch is a better outlet for me personally.
So with your degree, what kind of, let's say that maybe YouTube, Twitch doesn't become necessarily a career for you. What kind of like broadcasting are you looking forward to like in your career? We'll talk a little bit away from content creation because either or we're still broadcasting on Twitch and YouTube. So like what are you looking forward to, or what would you want to do with that degree?
So my plan after college is because I go to San Francisco State University, which is like a pretty well respected broadcast kind of pipeline. So like there's a program called the Becca program, which is Broadcast Electronic Communication Arts, and I have an emphasis in sports. So like what's cool about the program is you get like a lot of different options. You can go into directing, you can go into management of media, you can go into like law of media, you could go into economics of media. Like there's so many different outlets, and they teach you not only the like if you're in sports, they don't teach you just the broadcast side, they teach you the business side of how sports are operated and the management side. So like you don't just go in there thinking that, you know, la-di-da-di-da, I'm going to be on camera or I'm going to be holding a camera while somebody else is doing something and that's it. Like they teach you, you know, why people have to get cut from the job, why it's like contracted, why it's like all that kind of stuff, and how hard you're going to have to work to maintain like your career later on. But my plan is because of that, it's a pipeline. I've already met like a lot of really cool people. I've met like a lot of local news people. I've met a lot of like local sports people and just ESPN anchors and stuff like that. So it's been really cool. But my plan is to move to Texas when I'm done because California is really expensive. And then find
no state
work.
income tax in Texas.
Yes, everything's cheap in Texas.
You hear that a lot during trade time for sports.
Yeah, and of course, like it's sports town USA, so like there's gonna be sports literally everywhere, sports jobs. So you know, as far as like what I want to do though, I mean, one day if Twitch isn't a thing, and if I'm like on my major doing my thing, I mean, one day I'd love to host my own sports talk show. It'd be amazing. Just talk sports all day with people.
Have you thought about, because I know there's other platforms that are introducing sports, and I know Twitch has dabbled in that. What about a sports talk show that's on Twitch or something similar to it? Or even, I know you can't really broadcast games on Twitch because of copyright infringement deals and stuff, but maybe something sports related. directly on Twitch, even just a talk show.
Yeah, I've thought about that. When me and one of my best friends were gonna move in together, I mean, that would be a really cool thing to do on the weekends. Just a whole separate channel that's just focused on sports, and go into the sports and fitness section of Twitch and make a whole like talk show or like podcast and talk show and make it just about sports. So that's definitely something that I wanted to do. That's something for like good experience too and all that kind of stuff.
I think for me as a viewer, I used to, I started talking about this a little bit before we started the podcast. I used to listen to a lot of sports podcasts. I used to listen to a lot of sports radio in college and at a previous job whenever I used to have about an hour commute every day. And one thing that I see them, like they try to implement like audience feedback. They'll have lots of tweets coming in. They used to take callers. They're kind of going away from that a little bit. Every now and then,
they don't take callers that much anymore.
I know. Like Paul Feinbaum, like has like all kinds of like gimmicky people he has on like or phone calls and stuff. But like, I feel like Twitch is and can be a really good for like a sports platform. Like if you had the audience, like say if I don't know who it is, Mike Greenberg, Mike Golick, whoever, one of them came to Twitch and was like, "We're starting our Twitch show," like. It may be a bit much with as many people would come in and ask questions then, but like I'd say a medium size stream, say 100 to 500 people, like where you can actually interact with the people that are giving the opinions, that are giving the hot takes, that are giving shit. I think that would be actually something that would be really interesting for people that are interested in sports. And it just has to be a really niche thing to pop off. Like say if I know that you're a Patriots fan, I can see it back there. I know you're originally from the area, so like maybe I know Boston is really like into sports, but maybe like you started like a Boston only. Here's what we're going to talk about sports on Twitch this time every single day. Like, would that be something that would be interesting? Do you think that could have any kind of traction?
I think it definitely could. I think Twitch's main problem right now is that they don't push hard. Like Amazon pushes hard to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think that Twitch pushes hard to do that. I think Twitch is very much still a gaming platform, and they don't want their partners to go too far into other things. I think the just chatting section is definitely a good example of that. Like you see a lot of people have like a very, very tight leash or a short leash on that section. Sorry about my garage.
It's okay.
A very, very short leash on that section compared to the gaming sections. And I think Twitch is like always going to be a gaming platform. I do think, however, and this is my other thing that I might consider for post college would be esports broadcasting. And I do think that if you ran a sports show on Twitch, you would definitely have to talk about esports as well.
Yes.
And you'd have to bring in guests who were esports players on different teams. And that is extremely niche because probably out of 100 people that are in the Destiny community alone, you probably get 5, maybe 7 people out of that 100 that are sports fans too, because a lot of people, who are playing games on like Destiny and other like just video games and stuff this could be just me being completely wrong here, but I don't think a lot of them watch a lot of sports. I think this is their alternative to watching sports.
I'll talk a little bit about sports and stream. People be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, people are like, "What the fuck? This isn't Destiny." Like, yeah.
And I know for me, like the sports for me used to be, I used to hang out and talk a lot more sports and be a lot more interactive in that whenever, like, say my brother lived in town because he's really big into sports. And when I used to hang out with some friends, like before they got married, before they had kids, used to talk about sports a lot more. And so since like they all moved on, they didn't really move on away from me, but like they have their family, they have their kids, dogs, whatever. They kind of are in sports anymore, but I kind of lost interest in it whenever I wasn't with those people every single day. And that's whenever like I started playing video games more.
Yep, 100%. I agree. I will say now that I'm back in school, like the whole summer, I did not pay attention to sports at all.
It's only baseball during the summer.
Yeah, a little bit of baseball, maybe like some NBA trade talk and some NBA offseason stuff, a little bit of NFL here and there, but No, not really any sport. I know it's not like a huge sports season. You got like Little League World Series and you have the MLB regular season.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it that's going on. But as far as like hanging out with people, like, dude, every time I hang out with people now at school who are sports majors, like, all we talk about is sports, and it got me back into it again. So it's like, I agree with you. Like, you have to be in a crowd of people that are sports people to want to be like
Definitely do
engaged in sports.
Like I know, because summer was always a really boring time for me to sports. I know that I usually looked forward to like certain seasons. I know October was one of my favorite. October is my favorite month anyway, but like October for sports season was always really good. The end of October, NBA starts. You have the World Series coming up in October, and that's always a really, really good atmosphere to watch. And football's still going, and football's, in its second month at that time.
Like the prime of the regular season.
Yeah, like nobody's hurt, and most people are still going. So like October's always really a good season. So like summer was always really boring for me. Like I'd listen to the baseball game. Like I didn't care about a baseball game until it's October. Like actually.
Yes, it's weird because like I've always felt that like sports and video games all come out at the same time, and I'm like, man, what an opportunity would it be if games came out like some big title came out in July when most kids are out of school. I don't know. I always think that. I don't know about you, but
and that's something that I was thinking about. I just thought about that the other day. I was like, it's the middle of summer. Like, why aren't they releasing stuff in the middle of the summer?
It's like
there's lots of like, I don't know.
Imagine if Shadowkeep imagine if Shadowkeep came out in July. I mean, it doesn't really fit the theme, but wouldn't that be like wild? Like, I don't know, July releases are like Bungie's thing, and nobody else has a July release. So I don't know.
It's like there must be some kind of metadata or data that I'm not thinking about whenever it comes to it, because the majority of the people that actually play a bunch of these games, like look at Fortnite and those, that's a really young crowd. All those people are probably in school, whether it be college or kindergarten. You'd think that they'd have a little bit more time. You can kind of see the way that Twitch reacts, and you can even ask your mods during the summer. They have to do a little bit more work in the summer because of the younger crowd that comes in. Like, I don't know if there's something I'm missing, that there's some sort of data that I'm missing that they don't release. Like, you get a lot of fall releases and you get a lot of pre-Christmas time
holiday
releases.
Season, like consumers spend more money in fall season because it's like, okay, you got to get Christmas presents. You want Christmas stuff to be out, so people are spending more money there. It's probably some kind of data is probably telling them not to release stuff in the summer. It's the same reason like movies. There's only like the big action movies that come out in the summer. Really, like there's not that many.
Like the thrillers and the dramas, they're not in the summer. They don't want to get people down and depressed in the middle of the summer. They want to get them all hyped up and buy more fucking popcorn. Get hyped up. Iron Man's gonna kill somebody.
Dude, and like I going back to what you said about like Twitch in the summer versus like now. There is dude, in the summer you'll see people like our boy Turner Tifu hitting like 80,000 on the regular just July day, which is insane. That's like absolutely bonkers. And then now that it's August, September's coming up, this is like the last bit before people officially are back in the thing of school.
Yeah.
There's a huge drop in viewership unless it's a new release, then people find a way. But it's pretty crazy. It's really weird how that works. Well, I guess it's not weird, it's expected, but it's just like crazy. It just shows you who your audience is,
I know we're on a gaming platform. I'm still in the Destiny 2 directory, but like I probably should have switched that. But we're gonna talk about Destiny 2 here in a little bit more. Do you have any sportscasters that you really look up to? And because I know that a lot of this broadcasting can go with what I'm speaking about, which is improving yourself and making content. So a lot of those people can help us, whether doesn't matter what you're streaming.
Yeah, dude, the two sportscasters. There's a podcast I listen to. It's called Pardon My Take. It's probably the best. It's the number one sports podcast. It's so funny. These guys are who I look up to. Big Cat and PFT. So funny. Barstool. It's a Barstool podcast. If you don't like Barstool stuff, it's definitely not like as I think that company gets a bad rep because it's not all just like over the top, like testosterone everywhere, but it's very much a sports person's podcast, and those guys are so creative and funny.
They've got a controversial owner or creator.
Are they controversial?
His owner, their owner.
Oh, the owner. Yeah. See, they don't even like, dude. They're so different. They're so different.
I know that like I don't have a problem with any of it. And I don't really get into any of that kind of stuff. But I know there's a lot of people that don't like him. So
there's a lot of people that don't like the owner. I get it.
He just eats pizza. That's all I ever see him do. So
yeah, that's all I ever see him do. But I can tell you that PFT and Big Cat, totally different people. They're hilarious, dude. I don't know. Those two are hilarious. Right. And then they have their producer Hank on their show, and they get some crazy names on there. They'll get like, dude, one episode they were just doing their podcast like normal, and Brooks Koepka calls them up after winning one of the PGA Tour things. Like I think it was it the US Open? I think he won the US Open, and he freaking called them after he's winning and walking down. Like that's how much athletes fucking love these two, because they're so funny. They just have fun with their job. So that's what I strive to be. Is just do what they do. They're just hilarious. They're definitely inspirational.
We'll venture away from sports a little bit. Like you probably talk a lot more about sports, but we'll get back into Destiny. That is how we know each other. So marry, fuck, kill. A Destiny NPC. But you can only pick a male.
Wait, what?
Destiny.
What was my three?
You can only pick a marry, fuck, kill, a Destiny NPC, but it has to be a male.
Okay. Who are my three?
You have to pick, dude.
Oh, I have to pick. Oh God. It has to be a male. Okay. Brother Vance, I'm killing. This dude was just he's chilling in the light. Just delete Mercury as a whole right now. It's so bad. Brother Vance, see you later. I'm marrying Zavala because, dude, let's be honest, Zavala holding it down, bro. Zavala will defend the city no matter what, which means I'm a part of the city. Zavala will defend me to the day that I die.
Okay.
Who am I fucking? Who's an NPC? Like, dude, you know what? God, I should have said kill. Can I add Asher Mirror to the kill?
If you want to kill two of them, fuck it. Yeah, you might as well kill them both.
Asher killing you two.
I don't want to fuck two of them. I want to kill two of them.
I'd fuck Devrim. Got the voice of a lot of different games. Now Cade's already dead, so I can't say Cade.
Devrim is actually in the game, married to a man.
Devrim. My dude, just saying. Yeah,
it's actually in the game.
We get down.
He's actually dope, dude. And I like T, so I mean.
Voice actor. God, I don't know his name, but his voice actor is in Diablo 3. He plays like one of the starting people. He's like one of the original. He's in a lot of different games, so I like Devrim.
He was a voice actor. Gideon Emery is his name.
Mm-hmm.
What was his? He was a different character before. What was he before? He was a voice for a character. Was it the? Oh gosh, it was the dude that used to be in The Reef. He was the voice actor for that guy too.
Dude, yeah, he's been a voice actor for a lot of different things. I'll try to find him on IMDb and just like find some of the things that he's done. He was in Daredevil, the new series, Call of Duty, Teen Wolf. Okay.
These two things.
Tangled, Crackdown 3, Kingdom Hearts 3, Fallout 76, Destiny 2, obviously, World of Warcraft. Fucking dude, this guy is everywhere. Battlefront 2, Wolfenstein 2, like, yeah. He's just got the voice, Some people just have the voice for it.
He does have a great voice. Do enjoy it. I was trying to think. I'm pretty sure that he was the voice actor for I can't even remember the dude's name. The guy that used the Cryptarch in the tower.
Oh, Master Rahul.
No, Rahul's the guy that's in the tower. The guy in the Reef. The guy that used to be in the Reef in Destiny 1. The Cryptarch that was there. He got killed. They did it in the Festival of the Lost. They said they did the whole thing with where he got killed, and you had to find out who his killer was. And
I don't know. Did anybody in any of the chats know?
That's how we got Thunderlord.
Who this guy was? The guy who we got Thunderlord from? I forgot his name too.
Master Ives. Master
Ives.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, thank you,
Black Superman. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Black Superman. I appreciate you. Thank you. Keep saving lives.
So like right now, if you're gonna fire up the game Destiny 2, like what are you gonna play? Like if you say you're just by yourself, like what do you enjoy most like doing?
Right now by myself?
Yeah.
This may sound crazy and it may sound not like me, but if I'm doing something by myself and I'm just like bored right now in the game, it's PvP.
Yeah.
That's all I got left to do right now, pretty much, is like finish out my Iron Banner quests on my Hunter, and then just mess around with different weapons that I don't really use very often. Because I mean, I could do solo Argos, but I've done Argos stuff enough. Like, I don't know. I feel like for solo play, it's definitely PvP right now.
If you were hosting, let's say that you had enough money, you were hosting $100,000 PvP tournament this weekend, starts tomorrow. What kind of rule set are you implementing? You can do anything, just anything in Destiny 2. So you could do like no heavy. You could have a rule set. Yeah, like say it.
Like just my own event in Destiny 2
like
right now?
Evanf1997 100K tournament starts tomorrow. Like what is your rule set?
Oh. My rules, I really like the rules that they have for the scrims, like the sweats that Frostbolt and a bunch of other people put together.
The one that like Frost and like Vince and I think even Cammy, and so all them have put together.
I would adopt those rules, but what I want to do, and this is something that's coming in the future one day, I swear that it'll happen. I want to take PvE meets PvP. I want to take people who are PvE mains, like very, I don't know, streamers and just really good PvE players,
just content creators and influencers, players. Well, even if they aren't like content creating, but people know. Like,
yeah, totally. I want to take all those people and mash them with really, really well-known PvP players as well. So an example would be like on one team you have Sweat, Chevy, and Flesh with Gigs. On another team you have like, because then Gigs can show them the ropes and teach them like map comp and all that kind of stuff. And you could, especially with elimination coming back, you could literally host your own version of a trials where like the winner receives, $1,000 or something.
To kind of have really cool. Kind of like have the inverse of like what Chevy and Frank did a couple weeks ago with the raid carries, where they had 4 speed runners and then 2, I guess they were calling it influencers then. So they could have been PvP players. Yeah, so the inverse of that. So you'd have a bunch of PvE players playing with one PvP like lead or so.
Yep, pretty much.
That'd be really interesting because there's lots of people. I mean, and I know it's kind of different. We kind of people get separated into PvE and PvP a lot with Destiny 2, but a lot of these people are really good in both.
Yeah, and it'd be cool to see that. I think there's a lot to learn in PvP that I have been learning, and I'd like more people to know about. I think, I think like for me, I've learned a lot from. I have a lot of friends in a clan called, I think it's Lucid now. They changed. They were a different Apex. They were their own Apex, and they were really, really good players. Some of the best players I've ever played with. Like we would match up against Cammy Cakes, Drewski, and we'd beat them with these guys. These guys were insanely good. But they would teach me so much. They'd be like, okay, when I was playing comp with them, be like, okay, you only want AC on this map, or like you only want like it's this type of mode. It's survival on I forgot what map it's called, but it's survival on that map. So you want to just rush really heavy to this choke point and use shotguns. Like, doesn't matter if you die, get a body on it. And I'm like, okay. And I noticed when I started to do that, like, oh man, we're winning a lot more games. I'm trying to find the name of that map real quick. But yeah, like we would win a lot more games that way. And they taught me a lot, and they taught me about like different choke points, where to put barricades, what class to run against what. Like, dude, there's so much stuff that I think a lot of people, it's Radiant Cliffs, by the way. There's so much stuff that people just don't know about PvP that I didn't know about PvP, and I still don't know about PvP, and I want to learn more. And I think with new maps or with old maps returning, new game types coming back, or like maybe new game types in general, I really think that we could have something pretty special with a PvE meets PvP. I think a lot of people don't give PvP enough credit.
The PvP is really fun, and I know that in the beginning of Destiny 2, it really was not. It was not very good. You had double primaries, high TTK on top of that, slow movement. It just wasn't what made Destiny 2 or Destiny 1's PvP really fun. And couple that with other games that were coming out, their PvP was actually really good. It was really interesting. It was really dynamic. You didn't have variabilities with, well, this gun's ridiculously overpowered, but it has to stay the same because it does this in PvE. So they're finally getting away a little bit from that. So bringing the PvE and the PvP stuff together, that's going to bring us into Gambit. So people are going to start saying that kind of thing.
Yeah.
First question, Gambit or Gambit Prime?
Right now, for me, regular Gambit is better.
Okay. And say, since we're just going to say you made that decision, Bungie's going to be like, all right, Evan said it. We're getting rid of Gambit Prime. You can change one thing about regular Gambit. You can either add something, you can delete something, you can change the way something reacts. Just one thing. What would you change about it?
One thing I would change about Gambit right now is the ability to use taken armaments, and any kind of armaments, any kind of mod like that is very, very busted for Gambit. It doesn't make it any way fun. Any way fun. It just all it does is really just separate the player base, because it goes, okay, have you done Last Wish a bunch of times? Okay, well then yeah, you automatically have a huge advantage that the other team doesn't.
So really just the heavy management overall, probably.
Yeah, heavy ammo management in that mode is very, very one-sided.
I thought about something, and I'm just going to go ahead and ask you about this since we're on Gambit. I thought about, and I don't want to create this. This may have been something I read somewhere. Say we do regular Gambit, and it's 2 or 3 modes, kind of how it is now. Let's say the first mode, there's absolutely no invades. There's no boss mechanic. You can actually melt the boss as fast as you can. So phase 1 is strictly PvE. That's all it is. It's strictly PvP. Who can kill their ads the fastest and who can melt their boss the fastest. And then second mode would be invades. It'd be pretty much how they are now. Third mode would be a combination of all 3. Obviously, that's just you're gonna remove the ads from it. Maybe have some more mechanics with the envoys than what we have now in regular Gambit.
Sure.
What would you say about just something along the lines of that for Gambit?
I think that'd be a cool idea, but I also think then you make it so round 3 people go, oh fuck, all right, we got to play like old fashioned Gambit, you know. Yeah. I think it's definitely a cool idea. I think adding mechanics to the boss fights would be fun. I do think, however, you're going to run into the issue where, you know, people don't even know how to throw the orb on the corrupted Nightfall, even though it tells you. Like the first time you do the corrupted strike, it tells you in text what to do with the ball. It says at the bottom of the screen to throw the ball and that it gets stronger when you catch it. It says it in text when you first do that strike. So I don't like people don't understand like very, very basic mechanics. So if you're playing with like I would like that for a competitive mode. But if you add any kind of mechanics to a boss fight, you know, people really struggle with that kind of stuff. And I personally, you know, you and I, we could be like, why do people struggle with the basics of things? But you know, there's a lot of people that don't get to play.
I've been there too. I mean,
many hours, and I've taught a lot of raids at this point. So there's like some stuff that, you know, I've learned along the way about like how people learn stuff, and when it clicks, but it takes some people longer than others. So, you know, it'd be hard, but I do like the concept of an all PvE and then all PvP. I think that's cool.
This question will be like a meta test, because if I do a podcast in the future, it's probably going to be after Shadowkeep. We're going to have lots of sandbox changes. You're going into PvP. What's your loadout? So class, subclass, armor, and weapons.
Going into PvP, like right now?
Yeah, like what would you choose for you to perform the best?
For me to perform
the best. For you to perform the best. It doesn't have to be meta. If it is meta, that's totally fine. For you, maybe a mix of enjoyment and your performance at the same time.
Okay, Thorn, I really like Thorn. I'm like addicted to using Thorn now. I don't know why, but I've really liked it. I would probably get a good Mindbenders or a Twilight Oath right now. And then just heavy wise, oh boy. Some kind of tracking rockets is fun to use. Machine guns are great. Heavy's kind of just a toss up. It could be like anything that you want to use, but I would definitely strive for at least the first two would be my picks for sure.
And then what subclass and at least exotic armor? What would you pick for that?
Subclass right now. I mean, hunters are like people say. Titans are broken. I think hunters in PvP, man, like they're so elusive. You
Ever played mid-tree void?
Dude, I actually really like mid-tree Arcstrider.
Mid-tree Arcstrider is probably the most fun. I think it's the most fun subclass either or. Like the melee ability is so much fun. The ability to block and dodge stuff with that super, it is really fun. And
the ebb and flow perk, or not the ebb and flow, the just the whirling guard. Yeah. Like you hold down block, and you can block anything. You can block a Nova Bomb back at somebody.
Can't block a Chaos Reach.
You can't block a Chaos Reach. That's a meme. There's no
that goes straight through you.
If a bottom tree striker is kicking me, I can just hold block in front of his face, and he will just keep bouncing off me like a trampoline. It's so much fun. It's the one thing that people don't know how to defend against. They just literally, you can't really. I mean, it's just it's really fun class. I'd love to see an exotic for this class, actually, like specifically for maybe consume less super when holding down deflect. Yeah, because I feel like it wastes a lot of super doing that.
I think it's only if you're actually getting hit by it. That's whenever it uses more super.
That's true. Yeah. But like, see that would be a cool exotic. Like, take less damage when getting hit by something with
All right, so talking about guns. Let's say you had to go in for a very controversial surgery, and you have no choice in this. Somebody is making you do this. Your penis is going to be replaced with a weapon from Destiny 2, and every time you urinate or ejaculate, it acts like the weapon does. What weapon is your penis going to be?
Anarchy or tractor cannon. Imagine when you are about to be at the apex of your nut and a fucking tractor can't. Okay, just saying. All right, now as far as peeing, long distancing with an anarchy. I'm just saying. Like, dude, I could shoot from my room to the bathroom with an anarchy. Oh, bro, somebody brought up 1K voices. Damn it, dude. 1K would be another great one. Holy shit, you charge that shit. Woo, buddy. Okay.
I'm just imagining a tractor cannon. I'm not gonna lie. I thought of the question. I didn't think of any of the answers. I just really wanted to think. I just really wanted to see what you were gonna say. A tractor cannon, like, just if there's somebody there that's actually pleasuring you, like, what are they gonna think whenever? Obviously your penis looks like a tractor cannon. Like,
I'm just gonna say, are you not amused? And then if they run away,
get blasted against the wall.
Yeah. Jesus, dude! At the apex, you're like doing your thing, and you're like, and through your window they go. Like, oh, okay, well.
Audio is telling me merciless. The longer you go, the faster the stream.
Oh, dude! Audio with the deep thinking. Jesus, man. Ooh, Cold Heart. No, that's like just regular pee at that point. That's just like a
But Cold Heart gets stronger as you go.
True, dude. Prometheus lens.
Get the AoE, dude. Get the AoE. Get more people with your pee.
Actually, wait. Why aren't we saying world line? We can just scoot.
Imagine you had a world line there. It's just spinning around where your dick is, dude. Shing. But it spins your whole body.
True.
Actually, it's not.
My dick turns into a full-on helicopter.
Actually, you teleport. It's not Dark Drinker. You just spin around. If you had a really long pee and you had Dark Drinker, would you just start to take flight? Like, would you start floating?
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. With the world line, you just keep going. Like, there is no stopping it. You want to do the temporal sprint? You just start running around your house, and all of a sudden you're helicoptering up into the sky. You lay down in bed. You're like, you do some spins around your bed, and all of a sudden you're hitting the ceiling. Some Exorcist type shit.
All right, well, we'll get back into a little bit more serious stuff to end this because it's been close to an hour. I know we've had a bunch of stuff released today.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to from Shadowkeep? So we're just a little bit more than a month away from it.
Ooh, most looking forward to in Shadowkeep 100% the raid. I mean, just day one raids, everything around the raid. I mean, they spend to me, the raids are like dropping a movie or like an album, but even more work to me personally that goes into it. Maybe not like movies, but an album. Dude, it's like that one team sits down in a room and literally gets to do a dream job of like, hey, let's come up with mechanics, let's come up with this and that. And it's probably so hard to do what they do. And every single raid in Destiny, even Crota, even Eater of Worlds, is a fucking masterpiece compared to like anything else in the game for that matter, and anything else that most games have ever done. Raids in Destiny are by far I don't play a lot of raids. I've never really played raids outside of the game.
Yeah.
But from the design, the look, the aesthetic, the aesthetic, that's the same thing. Like the design, the way that like everything's set up, the way that like they give you enough hints that you can learn stuff. There's only been a couple of times, I'm looking at you, Vault. There's only a couple of times where it's like it just makes no sense as far as like the order of things, but most of the time they nail it on raids. So I think raids are definitely what I'm looking forward to the most.
I feel like Vault, the Vault encounter was something that like because they usually do a really good job, and I've seen a lot of what people have said, and I've had the privilege of playing with some people that are on the raid team, and I feel like that there was just something they kind of missed with, because they like to give clues out as to how the mechanics work. And I think as well as we as the Destiny community, we tend to take things a little bit too far sometimes. That's any community. I can't really say that's just Destiny with the whole Penumbra.
I mean, Destiny has a very good like rep for it, but yeah, that's any community.
With the Penumbra and Antumbra thing. And I recently read a write-up. I think it was Toes that did it. And literally, if you stand on the plates the entire time, like it probably would have made a lot more sense to people, and it wouldn't have just been a brute force thing.
Yeah, that's true. And like we don't know how they test those things too, you know, but I still, one of the questions, if I were to ask like Luke Smith or any Bungie employee, I think it's Hops. Wait, is it Hops in charge of the raids?
Hops is in the raid team, right? Yeah.
He's in the raid team. Okay. But if I were to ask him any question, I would go like, hey man, you know, for Vault, was there anything in the lore? Was there anything that gave you an inspiration to make Antumbra right and Penumbra left? Or was it just a decision to go, okay, we need someone with the names of these buffs that are involved? Because this has kind of been the theme, that there's this Eye of Riven that's been going around. But is there something like, was Penumbra the right hand of Riven? And was Antumbra, or was Penumbra the left hand of Riven, and was Antumbra the right hand of Riven? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I feel like that could have been something explored. But you know, just like how the Outbreak Perfected mission was, like with the ship, there's not really any context to why something's like that, so you just end up brute forcing it. There's no puzzles there. So I would love to know, dude. That would be such a great way to get people involved in the lore. Like they're doing that with the dual Inkaru and being level 999 to break the curse. They're doing that. Like that's gonna be freaking cool. Like, see, that's someone in the lore that tells you that something will happen.
That's and I'm guessing it's gonna be true, but like the fact that that's like in there in the lore, and like I didn't see anything about it until like a month ago. It's been there for a while. Like why? Until somebody like finally like pointed it out on Reddit, like you know, this is in the lore right here.
Yep.
Like what are we doing here? We gotta wait, guys.
Yeah.
Who's gonna be the first person to get 999 light?
Sweat. 100% Sweat.
I'd probably agree. Yeah.
Sweat, just freaking man's making spreadsheets for everything. I think that when it comes to that kind of stuff, maybe there's like, because I always love games, and anybody that like watches me knows that I love the like the Dark Souls games and Bloodborne games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or just Bloodborne and, you know, like Sekiro. but there's always lore that mentions stuff in the game, like mentions names, mentions battles, mentions all that kind of stuff. And I always love when things do that, and when you see that come to fruition. You hear about the stories of this. You hear about the stories of the Midnight Coup with Gaul taking over and trying to like kill Callus and stuff like that. But in Destiny, you hear about that and you hear like voices like tell you about that stuff, but you don't see all of that kind of stuff. And I wish that the lore would come to fruition a little bit more because the lore is so good in this game.
No, and I feel like there's a lot of lore that's introduced in the game, and then we just don't hear anything about it. Take the stranger in Elsie Bray. Like, we saw her in the second expansion of Destiny 1. We know her name now, and that's really about it. Like,
Elsie Bray or the stranger?
The Exo Stranger,
we saw her in the first in the first
the
campaign of the first game.
I thought it was
not even like an expansion. It was just the main campaign, and that was it.
It was in the main campaign, yeah.
She gave us the Stranger's rifle, which was like a legendary pulse rifle that looked weird, and then she pieced out.
It was full auto. I thought it looked pretty dope.
It was pretty cool.
I actually enjoyed it.
And I mean, yeah, I would love to see stuff like, yeah, I don't know. I guess that would be my question for the raid team though. Is like, I want to know like where the inspiration was that, or what was for that, you know?
Encounter is gonna baffle us forever.
Yeah.
It took raid teams 8 hours to beat it, and it's taking us, well, over a year. We still don't even, almost a year, and we don't even really know what the fuck is going on in that encounter.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's about an hour. I won't take any more of your time. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we wrap it up today?
Everybody go follow Peter Pumpkins on Twitch, YouTube, and yeah, that's all I got to say, man.
And for my chat, and then for everybody listening, once this gets into podcast form, where can they find you at?
They can find me on twitch.tv/Evanf1997, all one word. And same with YouTube, youtube.com/ or I guess just on YouTube, type in Evanf1997.
Awesome, dude. Well, Evan, I appreciate it, dude. That was lots of fun.
Thank you for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
If you'd like to do another one, maybe here in about 6 weeks, I'm probably gonna ask you to do another one after Shadowkeep dies down for a little bit.
I would love to. Yeah.
Awesome, dude. I appreciate it.